All right, ladies and gentlemen, step 3 of our plans is the arms and legs. So, making sure that they are also the right size. So we need your measurements again. When we are measuring both the arms and the legs, you need to start at the torso. That means when you start to measure your arms, start with the part that touches the torso. Do that part first. Also, when you're doing your two views, do the body parts that are easier first. So do the arm. These arms here are pretty, you can see all of it. There's no foreshortening. Same deal with these arms here. I could get all of my arms done pretty easily. These legs are going to be easier than these legs. So I'm going to work on these legs once these are done. So kind of make a plan for how which you're going to do first. So I'm going to start with the arms, and I'm going to start with these arms because they're kind of the easier ones. 1, your arms, where they connect to your body is, if you kind of look at these guys, it helps you out. Your arms connect at the edge of your shoulders. So that means your arms are going to connect right here. So right now, the arms that I drew in my original gesture drawing are too close together. They're too close to my head. So I'm going to have to move them over. So when I go to start my measurements, I'm going to start from here. When I go to start my leg measurements, they're going to start right here. Now, that's the difference between your arms and legs. Your arms are kind of on the outside of your body, but your legs connect right underneath your torso. So just like you see these guys have those legs right underneath, my legs are going to be right underneath my torso, not over here. You kind of look weird like a robot if you connect your legs on the outside of your body. So, now you need to go to your measurements, and I'm going to look at my measurements. Now, when it comes to these, for the most part, you're not going to be using the overall length as much as you're using the parts and pieces. So, I'm looking at arms. So this part of my arm is 1 1/4 long. So I'm going to do 1, 1, uh-oh, my pencil just died. 1 1/4 long. So that's where my elbow needs to go. I can erase those. And then from the end to the arm is 1 long. Now, the problem I'm going to run into is I've got to kind of figure out the right angle to get here. So if I'm looking, this is how long my arms are, and I want my hands to touch. So maybe what I'm doing is I figure out that length, and I kind of tweak the angle a little bit. So that comes in a little bit more. That comes in a little bit more. That comes in a little bit more. So let's check the measurement again. So I just tweaked it. 1 1/4 1. Okay. So now I can draw my first part and my second part, and then my hands are together. Now my hands should be 3/4 of a head. That's a little too long. So make that a little shorter. And then I got to do the same thing on this side. 1 1/4. Now, because I want my hands to be together, I can kind of just draw them right next to each other. And it also makes it a little easier. Let's see if this is right. So that's a little long on that side, so I got to scoot it over a little. If you're doing a pose like mine, it's a little trickier because my hands are kind of relying on each other, being in the right spot. If your arms are separate, it's a little bit easier. Now you want your arm to get a little bit thicker. There we go. And we'll deal with the rest of that neatening up later. So now I've got the arms done on this one. Then I think I am going to do the legs, and the other one is my demonstration. Or first, so let's do the arms. Let's follow my original plan. So the arms are going to connect. Now, the thing that happens sometimes with a side view, if your arms are up, sometimes they might overlap your head. If your arms are down, they're going to overlap your body. They're sticking straight out. They're going to overlap your body. Your arm connects in the middle of your shoulder. And I think this head's needs to be a little wider this way. Let's make it a little bit more round because that looks kind of weird. All right, so the shoulder is going to connect. Maybe that's what the problem is. My head was a little too close to my shoulders. So see, even I'm going back and fixing things from previous steps because sometimes I don't catch everything the first time. So your arm connects to the bottom center of your shoulder. So when I go to make it going out, I gotta go 1 1/4. Now one of the things that I might do to make my life a little easier, I might just take, since I've already measured this arm and I know it's right, just bring it over here and put my mark. Bring it over here and put my mark. Bring it over here and put my mark. Because that's one of the ways when I go to check yours, I'm going to do. I'm going to go here, here. Are they the same? Yes. I'm also going to do that here, here, here. Are they the same? Yes. Now, the other arm connects on the other side. So if my arms are lining up, like kind of like this, am I going to see all of the other arm? I might not see any of it at all. I might just see a little bit of it. Just enough to know that there's a second arm there. And that arm comes back behind the head. Now eventually you're going to erase the kind of where the head overlaps so that you can know that arm is going over the head and this arm is going under the head. So now I've got both sets of arms done. Then I'm going to do my legs. Now, same deal. I go back. It is 1 1/2 to my knee. So, let's erase this. 1 1/2. There's my knee. Now this leg here is straight. That's why I started with it. Now that, remember that 1 1/2 starts from underneath your hip. So there's 1 1/2. And then my next one is 2. 1, 1, 2. Now, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to look back, okay, this leg was bent a little bit back. So I'm going to angle that a little bit more. 1, 2. We're going to move it back here a little bit so it angles. So I've got that tension in that knee. And then the leg, because it was pushing off, kind of goes, now I gotta look at this and see. It's going like that. So that's where I add that foot in, kind of going at an angle. So I've got that leg. This leg here is jumping forwards. So that means it still starts at the same spot. It starts underneath here. And it's actually, it's the back leg. So it's going to start behind this leg. So I'm not really going to see the where it connects. And once again, I can use that measurement that I already have. And I can have it bending that way. Now when I'm doing a side view, once again, that leg is underneath the other leg. So there's a part of it that I don't see. That means even I just made that mistake. So I got to make it come back a little bit more. That looks better. And then this leg is diving. And its foot is going backwards. Now my foot was a little bit bigger than a head. This one's, they're about the same size. Good. So now, as I'm doing this, the thing that I can start to do is I can start to erase the bad gestures. So now that I have the good measured gestures on there, I'm erasing my bad gestures, and that one's done. Now, foreshortening. The thing that happens with foreshortening when you're looking at something from an angle. Now this leg here is only going to be slightly foreshortened, so it's going to pretty much be the same length because it's going almost straight back. Now the more a leg is bent, what foreshortening means is the more a leg is bent, the smaller it looks. So if I look at that leg right there, see how this one doesn't look like it's the same size as this one because part of it's going back in space. The same thing happens with this part. It doesn't look like it's the same length because it's coming forward in space. So since this leg here is bent a little bit, it's going to be slightly shorter. It's going to be slightly shorter than it actually should be. This one's going to be slightly shorter. So I take where it should be and I just shorten it a little bit because that leg is mostly straight. Now, because my foot is going kind of forwards, see, if I look at the back of a foot, I'm not going to see the whole thing. I'm just going to see part of it. So I don't have to measure the length of that one because the length is going away from me and I'm not going to see it. Now this leg here, because it's bent up, all I'm going to see is that bottom part of it here. I'm going to see where that leg is kind of, where I'm kind of going to see the butt, or where the thigh going forward. Now that thigh's going forward and up. Now the one thing that you can do, and that's what I'm kind of looking at and thinking of, see how this foot here, if I look at them, should be about the same place as that knee. So if I put that foot in the same spot, and that one I am going to see because it's pointing down. See, there's the bottom of the foot. So I'm seeing the bottom of the foot. So this knee is like this. I'm seeing the bottom of the foot like here, which means, see how you can only see, let me pull that up a little higher. So you only see of this leg here, you only see the back part of it because the rest of it's going forward. And then this part connects from that part. So you don't see much of it either. Let's see. So that goes kind of like that. Alright, so that is step 3, is get your foreshortening, get your legs and arms proportional from both front and side view.